Alrighty, ready. Welcome, everybody. Let me make sure my mic is on, not muted, and everything looks good. Welcome to the Wolf Den, another very special episode, which every episode is a special episode. Okay, YouTube, stop playing stuff in the background. All right, let's just close that out. All right, so I got my guest here, AJ. How are you doing, brother, or friend,
I'm
or
good.
neighbor?
Is my audio okay?
The audio sounds good to me.
All right.
All right, cool. So, you wanted to have a conversation about evolution. Yeah.
Sure. I mean, I think it was framed as a debate, but I think, it'll probably end up being more of a back and forth discussion since we don't have a moderator or anything.
Okay. Well, there is probably a link out there. I don't really do debates, but I do more discussions over debates. But even though they end up being somewhat like debates, it's just nothing like official. Like, oh, you got this much time, and I got this much time. I just like to hear what you got to say and why you got to say it.
Okay. Well, if, you know, if I had to present uh, any lines of evidence for evolution being true, and I think we should define what evolution is first, and that's um, what Darwin called a descent with modification. So that when two organisms reproduce, like mammals, like deer, they have an offspring, the child is not going to be genetically the same as the parents. It's going to have differences in its DNA sequence. And so that's microevolution, which is evolution within the same species. And creationists accept that to be true because they pretty much have to, but it's macroevolution that they don't accept, which is evolution between species, which is what's called speciation. When
Mm,
you have a new a, a,
what? Okay.
animals that can't breed with the other another group of the same animals, like two different populations of squirrels can't interbreed. We call them different species.
Okay. So let me. Okay. So I will agree with you. Yeah. I take the Ken Hovind approach, and I agree with Ken Hovind. That sure we see micro evolution happen. That's the term that the scientists coined or whatever. Um, I think that we've seen that throughout the history of mankind. You know, I think every time anything reproduces, that it reproduces, it brings forth its kind, and yes, that kind, like I could if I want a child and let me see if I want a child and I want a child with red hair and probably tall, I would probably go and seek out a girl that has red hair that's a little bit taller, to increase the chances of me finding or making a child that is a redheaded tall child, I think that's perfectly fine to say. That's natural. We see that, and I don't think we need Darwin to tell us that. We see that, in nature. We just see that happening. Um, I do have the definition of speciation here, and it is the formation of a new and distinct species in the course of evolution.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Although Darwin didn't know about genetics, he died before Mendelian genetics was discovered.
Okay, so um, if you breed enough and you have enough kids and then those kids have kids and those kids have kids and those kids have kids and those kids have kids, I don't know how many generations you want. You tell me.
What about 10,000?
Okay, 10,000 years in 10,000 or 10,000 generations, 10,000 generations. Okay, in 10,000 generations, we'll be lucky if we have that long. um What do you think that we're going to be something different, a different species?
I definitely think we would be different. Like if you agree with me that um, that if one in one generation, if that child is different than its parents, then you'd probably also agree that if after 10,000 or just 1,000 generations, that thousandth child would be much different from the first child, right? You'd agree with that because those differences add up, those mutations.
Okay, but would it still be Homo sapien?
Uh, Probably it would
Probably.
probably still be in the genus Homo for sure. Yeah, 1,000 generations, it would still be human.
Okay. So you're saying probably. Would you agree with me? Okay, so I was on Ken Hovind's open mic, and I asked this kid this who was over there, and let me see if you agree. Do you will you at least agree that evolution is at the very best a belief system?
I don't think so
Hmm.
because, and even if it is, I mean, knowledge is a subset of belief. Like things that we know, um, knowledge, the study of knowledge is called epistemology. And what Plato, how he defined knowing something was that um, it's something that you believe. It's a belief. It's something that is true, and it's something that you have justification to believe. So it's a justified true belief. That's something that we know. That's knowledge. So saying that it's a belief doesn't really discount it as being not true or lacking evidence.
I'm not saying that, but you're taking it on belief though. How many generations have we had? How many human generations have we had in 6,000 years?
Um, I don't know. I'd probably have to Google that. I don't know how many human generations happen in a year. That's a good
Ask,
question.
ask Siri. Hey Siri, how many generations has there been in the humankind through 6,000 years? 300 generations. Let's see. By simple mathematics, it follows the human race has about 300 generations. Let me
Yeah.
see.
So a generation is about
You-
25 years.
Okay.
So what was your question? So what was your question?
So, like in 6,000 years, how many generations of humans have we gone through?
Yeah, I'd agree with Siri.
Okay, yeah. AI is taking over, right? And you don't have a do you have a degree in biology? Do you have an education in biology? Any
No.
background in it? And you don't have any credentials. Neither do I. Neither do I. I'm not a professional on this stuff. I don't claim to be. I just go with what I observe, because I do admit, as a Christian, that I do accept that. Yeah, I have a religious belief. I don't believe that we got here through evolution. I don't think there's any evidence that really supports it. Um, and you yourself, you said, well, probably, we'll be Homo sapiens, but you don't really know. You're just kind of basing it off
Well, you
something.
said 10,000 years, 10,000 generations.
10,000 generations.
Yeah, I think we'd definitely still be humans. I know
Definitely,
that.
for sure.
Yeah, yeah, because um, the different species of human, because there are ancient humans that have gone extinct, like Homo erectus and Homo ergaster. There's lots of examples, and that was like over 100,000 years that those ancient humans lived and then died off, and Homo sapiens survived all of them, the last surviving species of human. So even though uh, there was different species of human, everything that has the genus Homo in front of it is still a human. So I'm pretty sure that you know that happened in well over 10,000 generations. So I could say that for sure. Would we be the same species of human? I don't know. Probably though.
Okay. So, so How long have humans been around?
Probably about 100,000 years. Although,
Hundreds.
yeah,
What
I
did
have
we
to.
look? What do you think we looked like? I don't know. Say 50,000 years ago.
Um, well, there's. Have you ever seen? Oh, apparently humans have been on Earth for approximately 6 million years.
By who?
I
Who
think, I
says
think
that?
modern. I think modern humans have been around about 100,000 though. That's. I think
Who
that's what
said?
I meant.
Who says that? Who says that we've been around for 6 million years?
I googled it. Okay,
Okay. What was the source?
modern Homo
You could share
sapiens
your
evolved
screen.
about 300,000 years ago. Yeah.
You can share your screen if you want. I'd like to see that. And and how it sounds like pretty extraordinary claim. Let's go ahead and read this right here. I'm not going to bash you for using Google. I use it all the time. Um, let's see. Humans have been on Earth for approximately 6 million years, evolving from ape-like ancestors. What does that mean?
Well, it means that um, what we think of as an ape is like an animal you would see at the zoo, like a gorilla.
What about an orangutan? Isn't an orangutan is an orangutan an ape?
Yes,
Bonobo.
I believe so.
So it says an ape-like
But
ancestor.
what I'm
What is
saying is that we think of apes as being, like I said, animals that don't have any type of language the way humans do. They can't speak in words. They can communicate, but not as sophisticated in a way that humans can. So it's saying ape-like ancestors because they were still human, but they were more ape-like. Like they had their features resembled that of um, animals more than humans. But humans are still classified as apes and primates.
okay? Do you think that we're animals? Do you think that
Yeah,
we're just animals?
I don't think that we're just animals, but I do think that humans are animals.
What's the difference between just animals and like animals?
Well, saying that we're just animals implies that humans aren't um, radically different from.
Unique?
Yeah, we have a lot of things that make us different, but we are. The way that I've heard it is that humans are a part of nature, but we're not apart from nature. So we evolved from the same um, ancestry as other animals on Earth. We've just been uh, able to develop bigger brains and intelligence and far surpass other animals in terms of intelligence. And then that's why we've been able to conquer the world basically. But humans still have a lot of weaknesses, compared to a lot of animals. Like a jungle cat would easily kill any human. And there's lots of other examples where we have disadvantages compared to animals.
So hold on. Let me get this up here a little bit more. Let me see. 6 months. Like you have to kind of believe this. I don't think there's any. This is. I believe this is just a theory. Let me see. I don't think there's any evidence of this. This is just how man. I think this is just how man thinks. Things happened. But it's these claims are quite hefty. I think both we can both agree, right?
Well, I wouldn't agree that there's no evidence, um, but I do agree that there is some. Um, no, I wouldn't say guesswork, but there is some blanks that you have to fill in evolution. Like we can't know for certain how animals looked like just from their fossils. Um, like
Yeah, I've seen
we can't know what
many
color they
different.
were, what color
Yeah,
their fur was, and stuff like that. So there's some artistic license, um, but a lot of it is based on evidence like fossils. Like we know the structure of an animal's body based on its skeleton, and
well
that's evidence.
let's look at the next line on that Google page you had. The earliest hominins are thought. They are thought. I think that should be emphasized. Thought to have appeared. Wait, scroll back up. Thought to have appeared around 7 million BCE, and the earliest species of genus or Homo genus appeared around 2 million, 1.5 billion or million BCE. I really feel like some of these numbers are out here just because there's no way to even prove or test any of this. Like the fact that it just says the earliest hominins are thought. Why
But keep
isn't
re-
what?
keep
Why isn't
reading.
it? Why doesn't it say the earliest hominins are known to have? Why thought? So right there, it just kind of concedes that this is a thought. This is not an actual fact. This is a thought. I'll go ahead and keep reading.
Yeah, just read the next line.
Apparently, to some of your friends, I can't read. So this is a miracle. This is a miracle. This might be a sign from God. If I'm reading this, this is pretty
Oh,
miraculous.
yeah,
I know.
that's
So huh?
just no. That yeah, I get it. Go
Oh,
ahead.
okay. Okay, all right. Here's some key milestones in human evolution. 300,000 years ago, bones of a primitive Homo sapien first appeared in Africa. That's interesting because the Bible says that humankind started from in Africa. It's a part in a place in Africa.
No, that's not true.
Yeah, yeah. Where's
The the
we don't know where the
the
Garden of
Fertile
Eden.
Crescent is the Fertile Crescent is in Iraq, Mesopotamia, and like the Middle East is likely. I mean, that's where Israel is, not Africa.
That's on the African continent.
Israel is on the African continent.
Yeah, I believe. Let me see. Hold on.
I don't think so.
Before I make myself look silly. Hold on.
Africa is a huge continent, but um, the Fertile Crescent and Mesopotamia and ancient Iraq, I believe, is where the Garden of Eden would have been located if it was a literal place. But
I could
that's
be.
why this conflicts with Genesis. I think.
Well, I think a lot. I think a lot will agree. Conflict with Genesis. I may be totally wrong on the. Man, I have to study up on my geography here. Um, Israel. Let me see. Very close to Africa. It's like right in between that.
Yeah,
It's very close to Africa.
yeah, that's true.
So, I'm probably gonna get crucified for that, but I'm pretty darn close. Um,
Yeah, I guess it is.
it's right in the middle. By the way, hello Tim, and yeah. So let's see. So 300. So again, 300,000 years ago, bones of a primitive Homo sapien species first appeared in Africa. Okay, and at least 200,000 years ago, anatomically modern Homo sapiens appear. Where are they getting these numbers at? How are they getting these numbers?
Well, can I play some part of a video?
How long is it?
It's not that long. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but I just want to play something from another.
I like to keep it for around like 2 minutes. If that's is it longer than 2 minutes? I don't want a whole presentation to be played or whatnot.
No, and I mean you can just we can just pause it after like a minute or two.
Um.
Could decay.
Okay, I'm down with this. All right, fine. Let me see.
All right.
4 million years of human evolution here. We're going to start with Australopithecus because we definitely want to show
Who's this
pre-human,
video?
and I think everybody would agree that Australia.
This is Bill Ludlow. It's from an old Ken Hovind debate.
Okay. All right. So 4 minutes. Let's just break down what we're seeing here. 4 million years of human evolution. all of this is art, artistic rendition. As you said, we found bones in the ground. We really don't know what the skin color was. We don't know how much hair they were, how much
Well,
hair there was.
we know about the skin color.
How do we know the skin color from the bones?
Well, not from the bones, but they lived on the African continent.
So I know white people from Africa.
Yeah, but the majority of population is dark skinned.
Depends on where you go.
Well, anyway, let's
Not
keep
all
going.
black people are from Africa. So, yeah.
Australopiths are pre-human. So starting with everyone's favorite, Lucy, discovered by Donald Johanson in 1974, Australopithecus afarensis. Her species is represented by fossils from over 400 individuals now. They lived in East Africa 3.8 to 2.9 million years ago. Was Lucy a chimp? No, Lucy wasn't a chimp. She was almost as different, or I should say, chimps are almost as different from our common ancestor as we are. They've been evolving just as long as we have. So when you take Lucy's skeleton and you flip it over and superimpose it onto itself, it shows actually how complete it really is. Primates are asymmetrical. So we have a very complete skeleton there. Lucy was not a knuckle walker. Knuckle walking evolved after our split with our common ancestor. We see differences in the type of knuckle walking between chimps and gorillas. There's no evidence that Lucy was ever a knuckle walking chimp. Looking at their skulls, cranial capacity ranged from 375 to 530 cc's. The variation is due to sexual dimorphism, where
All right.
males would be larger than
Can,
females.
can we pause? So, what information are you gaining from this? Can you explain it to me like I'm a toddler?
Yeah, well, it's basically just it's comparing the skulls of ancient humans and our ancestors, like
Which
Lucy.
and Lucy, but Lucy was not a human.
Lucy wasn't a human. No, Lucy was Australopithecine.
Okay, but it's our ancestor.
Yeah,
How did you get?
because
How do you get that? How do you get that? Is it just because somebody says that and that's their theory?
no, it's because of her anatomy. Because if you wanted, um, you know, in the 1970s, they were looking for the missing link between ancient apes and modern humans, and they kept saying like, oh, we there's no missing link. Well, they basically have found that with Lucy, because if you wanted a perfectly halfway transitional skeleton between ancient apes and modern humans, it's her it's Lucy, because her skeleton, basically, like her feet, her hips, the size of her skull, her pelvis, it's all um, halfway between the way ancient ape skeletons look and the way modern human skeletons look.
How many Lucys have we found?
Uh, there was about 400 specimens.
That's it.
That's a lot for a
400.
fossilized skeleton. Yeah.
We find millions, and we find these hundreds and thousands of like dinosaur fossils.
Well,
You
yeah, but
know,
that's dinosaurs. We're talking about one species of ape.
okay. And when did Lucy and trust me, I don't really believe in Lucy, and even if I did believe in Lucy, I would say that it's a monkey, some type of ape that went extinct, and I don't think that there's any kind of relation with us. um I don't even think you would be able to test the DNA in the bones, to see if we have, any kind of DNA, you know evidence. I don't even know what that would prove. It's very common that humans share DNA with a multitude of things. Fruits, vegetables, different animals,
Yeah,
everything like that. And it
that's true.
shows to me that's probably built in a way that we can, it makes common sense that we can, that way we're allowed to, do things like digest certain types of foods, eat certain things, you know, and we have like similar traits. Like I think if you look at a gorilla hand or a chimpanzee hand, you'll see that it has fingernails, it has bones, it has teeth. I have a missing tooth right now, but I mean, I'm pretty sure you find monkeys with missing teeth and whatever, But like, we're gonna share DNA similarities because we have the chemical makeup that makes up, our bodies, our the way that we are.
Yeah, but I
I don't
agree.
I, I don't think that that proves relation. I just think that proves that somebody designed us.
Why do you think that? Why do you think that?
Because well, that's because that's my belief system. That I believe in a God, I believe in a creator, and uh the reason I believe that, there's a number of reasons why I believe that.
Well, no, I'm saying why do you believe that the fact that we share common DNA with other life forms shows a designer?
Because DNA itself is a very complicated uh, system that's made up of four-part code. Even our computers today that use binary codes, even that's complex, and that in order for there to be code in the first place, there you would have to concede that somebody programmed it, somebody coded it. It didn't code itself, correct?
Right, but you're the one defining DNA as a code.
DNA has been long defined as a readable coding system. Like, they have decoded the genome.
They've
They've done
sequenced
that.
the human genome.
They've sequenced it, and it's a code. AGCT is, I believe, the common, um I forget what they are on in the DNA.
They're they're nucleotide base pairs.
Okay, all right. So
So
nuclear.
on the DNA double helix, if it's like a twisted ladder, the rungs of the ladder that connect each side. Those are two base pairs, and they're aromatic nucleotide base pairs that are, yeah, like CATG, and they're made of sugars and other elements or
Right,
molecules. But um,
and it's
the when animals reproduce, though, the DNA tries to replicate itself, but there's errors, and that process happens naturally. That's not like God isn't designing the DNA code of every single new baby, is he?
uh God is not. God placed the DNA sequence. God, well, in my worldview, God created. Let me let me hide this real quick.
He created the system and
He
started
created,
it
yeah,
off.
great, yeah. He created the system, and the system is so complex. Like, it's like a self. It's a it's like a zip file that has a self executable program in it that tells how these proteins should structure themselves, how to do everything, and it's extremely complicated. Darwin would be shot out of the water if he had a micron telescope and could see how complex, this DNA sequence is, what it
He
does,
probably
and
did.
how it does that. And it would probably done a lot of damage to his theory, because
I disagree with that. I think it's because um, that's what they call modern evolutionary theory. They call it the modern synthesis because it's Darwin's discoveries of a descent with modification, and now you've added on things like epigenetics and genetic sequencing and research, and things like Evo Devo and all these modern fields that they didn't
I've
like.
heard of that.
They
I've
didn't
heard of
have
that
them.
band. It's a pretty good band.
Oh, is there a band called Evo Devo?
I'm pretty
Oh,
sure.
you mean Devo? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's funny.
What is
Um,
what is Evo Devo? Is that evolution?
it's a field of biology that studies the link between how embryos develop in the womb compared to the evolution of whatever species that embryo is. You compare the development of it, its evolution as an embryo versus its evolution of the entire species, because there's links between the two. There's similarities.
What does that mean? What is that?
Um, well,
Like how a baby forms is
yeah,
similar
like
to how we evolve.
like how ancestors, ancient sarcopterygian fish are thought to be the ancestors of humans, like Tiktaalik.
So we went from
And
okay, wait, hold on. So we went from fish to Lucy to human.
yeah,
So
and
it's
there's a ton of evidence of the reptile mammal transition.
the mammal reptile transition.
The reptile mammal transition.
Reptile mammal transition.
Yeah.
What do you mean evidence? What evidence is there?
Well, the fossil record and
Okay.
the comparative anatomy of these fossils and all the environmental data we have from stratigraphy and geography or
So
geology.
so just because some things look similar, have similar features, we're saying that those things are related.
Not necessarily related, but we're saying
Even
that
though
they're
we had a
interconnected
fish
lineage.
somehow. Like I remember that PZ Meyer said that we're fish or we came from fish or something like that. Do you agree with that statement?
I don't think the way he phrases it is useful because I think it's confusing to people who don't know the terms of evolution. I sort of get what he's saying, but I just don't think it's a good thing to say.
I I also don't think it's a good thing to say mammalian reptiles. That isn't that a kind of oxymoron?
No,
Is a mammalian? What is a mammalian reptile? I'm not familiar with that. Give
it's a
me
creature that has the anatomy and features of both mammals and reptiles. It's similar to how there are
what today.
animals that are like dinosaurs and birds, but they're so similar they can't tell which is which sometimes, like Archaeopteryx.
What today? What animal today is a mammalian reptile?
They don't exist anymore. They're all
They
extinct.
how convenient.
Well, that's part of the transition from reptiles to mammals.
But you don't
They're,
have any proof there was a transition. There were those a
yeah, we have
mammalian.
the fossils.
No, I mean you got a fossil, but that all that means is that it died, it went extinct. Why do we even have the fossils?
Why do we have them?
Yeah, why do we have the fossils?
Because we dug them out of the ground. I'm not sure what you
No,
mean.
how did the fossils form?
Oh, animals die and then they get um, surrounded by material that protects them from scavengers. Like they can um, be buried in mudslides or floods or bogs, quicksand, and they get preserved because you know the bones aren't scattered by or eaten
Scavengers
by scavengers.
by carrions.
Yeah, so the bones over time, the organic material in them is going to decay, and the space that it leaves behind in that material is going to get filled in with minerals, and it's called permineralization. So it forms
Right.
a basic copy, and also there are like imprint fossils of like leaves. Um,
Yeah, have you recently seen the? I think there's a place in Texas. I think recently that's dried up. That's discovered like new. I want to say they found dinosaur and what looks like some type of human footprint. I recently. Have you heard
yeah,
about that?
yeah, it's a pretty old example.
No, but it's like this is a newer one. Like it happened not too long ago, like a couple months ago.
Do you know what it's called?
I don't know what it's called, to be honest with you. I would have to look it up. And so yeah, so we don't see large scale fossilization happening now, right? Like it's
Well, I don't. How would we? Because it happens underground.
like we excavate, we dig,
Well,
we
yeah,
live
but
forever.
that fossilization process happened over a long time, like like hundreds, thousands, or over 10,000 years sometimes.
10,000 years, 100,000 years, millions of
No,
years. Which
it's
uh,
about 10,000 years
10,000 years for what fossil?
for fossils to form in the wild in natural environments.
What type of fossil though? Like what type of
The
fossil are we
a
gonna find?
replacement fossil where the bone gets replaced by minerals.
Yeah, I know, but what kind of animal from 10,000 years? What type of animal is gonna be fossilized?
I'm just saying in general, that's how long it would take for a fossil to form. At least that long.
There's been certain scenarios, and granted, Ken Hovind like has that fossilized pickle, fossilized teddy bear. That didn't take thousands of years. There's a condition that forms. There's a condition that takes place that makes these
I
things
don't see
happen.
how a pickle could fossilize if it's just sitting in a jar.
No, I think that the pickle was like buried or by some type of mineral source, and it just caused it to. I forgot how he got the pickle, to
I'm
be
pretty
honest, in
sure
the jar.
he said that it was just in a jar.
No, he keeps it in a jar, but it wasn't found in a jar.
Yeah, and that teddy bear, I think that's what you mentioned. That's something that's being surrounded with minerals on the outside, but it's not organic material that's being completely 100% replaced all the way through. So there's a difference between a concretion and and fossilization.
uh Concretion and fossilization. So okay, so what's the difference?
Well, like I said, in natural environment, it takes that long for fossils to form. He may be right that fossils can form more quickly if you try and create an environment where they'll form.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's just left alone to nature, it takes a long time. So he may be right about that, but that's still like a teddy bear and like a pickle. I don't see why a pickle wouldn't just rot.
Oh, I don't know what condition made it fossilize or even consecrate, whatever you want to call it. I don't know why, but I know that pickle is not millions of years old or 10,000s of years old. Maybe a couple hundred, or maybe less than 100. So I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to take that long for something to fossilize. It seems like it's more on the condition of the environment. Would you say that you agree with that?
Yeah, I could agree with that. But I wanted to
I'm
play
not
some
trying.
more of the video though.
I'm not gonna try and get you into any gotchas or anything like that. You want to play a little bit more of the video? That's fine. We
Yeah.
could do that.
Um, and we're going to pay attention to the cranial capacity here as we go along. No modern human remains have ever been found in the same layers, originating from the same layers as Australopithecus
Oh,
afarensis.
can you pause real
So,
quick?
Australopithecus africanus.
Is this person is the person making this presentation? Is this a debate with Ken Hovind?
Yeah, but this is
Okay,
just the opening.
okay. So this guy, he is an evolutionist.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Is next up. Tong child was the first one discovered in 1924. We believe that skull was of a 3-year-old. They lived in South Africa 3.3 to 2.1 million years ago.
Pause.
Again, several hundred fossil
I want to note we believe. Okay, continue. Go.
specimens have been found, and they overlapped with afarensis in East Africa just for a few 100,000 years there. Were they a chimp? No. I mean, completely different now. You look at the difference in the skulls. This and Africanus had longer arms and shorter legs than modern humans, but that's because they were a transitional species.
Oh, God.
Evidence for bipedalism in Australopithecines. We have placement of the foramen magnum at the base of the skull. We have the attachment of neck muscles to the skull, shape of their spine, angle of their knees. They had no divergent big toe. fixed arches in their foot, side to side and front to back, and the shape of the pelvis, which we can tell whether they were bipedal or not by the shape of their pelvis. Cranial capacity.
That's another example of why Lucy is transitional between ancient apes and modern humans, because ancient apes did not walk upright and modern humans do. And Lucy could do both.
I can do both.
Yeah, I know.
A gorilla can do both. An orangutan can do
Not,
both.
I'm talking about ancient apes. No,
You-
no. Um,
how do you know an ancient
Chimpanzees
ape?
do not walk. None of them can walk upright for long periods of time like humans can.
Okay, I've seen a dog that can walk on its hind. Actually, I've seen a dog with no front legs that is constantly walking on its back legs. It doesn't seem like. I mean, how do you explain that? Like if we found that fossilized, how are you going to explain that? You got to kind of make up a little story, don't you?
I'm not sure about that. I mean, that's one example of it. That's a dog that's missing legs. I'm talking about dogs as a
Right.
species can't walk upright. Chimpanzees can't walk upright like humans can.
Chimpanzees can't. You're saying a chimpanzee cannot walk like a
Not for
human?
extended periods of time.
How
Not
long?
not
How long can they walk for on hind legs?
I don't know, but they don't walk around like that all the time because it's not comfortable for them because their skeletons and bodies aren't structured that way.
I mean,
Their backbone is not the same way that human vertebrate is.
okay. So, and
Like you
how
said,
does this?
the attachment of the spinal cord is different. It attaches
Okay.
in a different place, and the pelvis.
Okay. So how does this prove that we're related though? Like, I'm still lost on how we're related.
Um, Related to what? To ancient apes?
Chimp.
Well, human beings are apes and
Okay.
primates.
Well, speak for yourself. Speak for yourself. If you want to believe that, that's fine. And if you want to say, well, that's how we're classified, sure. Man has classified us as some type of ape. I don't believe that. And back to our earlier um, discussion, it seems like there is a very unique difference between mankind and anything in the animal kingdom. At
So hold on a second. So do you think that you're a primate?
Do I think that I think I'm a human being created
But
in the image
are
of
you a
created
primate?
in the created in the image of God.
But are you a primate?
I think I'm a human being. I don't know if I'm a primate. I don't know if scientists are putting us in that classification. I don't care. I don't know. I know if I try to have sex with a monkey that it's going to be kind of weird and it's going to be difficult and probably illegal. And yeah, it's going to be weird. And it probably wouldn't, we wouldn't be able to bring forth.
Well, are you a mammal?
Humans have classified mammals. What makes a mammal that has hair,
Warm
um,
blooded,
warm blooded.
live birth with a
So yeah,
placenta?
sure. Man made has made a classification that I'm a mammal. Sure,
Okay. Do you have opposable thumbs?
I do.
Do you have a relatively large and complex brain?
I don't know.
Well, you said compared to
I,
animals, you
I,
compared
I've,
to a monkey,
I,
you do, right?
people have called me a pretty smooth brain person all the time, so I don't know.
But,
Complex
but
compared to what?
compared to like a fish, you do, right?
I mean, I think a fish's brain is complex in its own way. I think a chimpanzee is complex in its own way. Like, what do we compare? Like, is there really a comparison? What about like my brain compared to your brain? Is there much of a difference?
Yeah, but I'm talking about just in general. Do you have a developed brain?
Depends on who you ask. I would say yes.
Okay. Do you have color vision?
Yeah.
Do you see in 3 dimensions?
Do I see in 3 dimensions? That's a very interesting question. Just vision alone and process. I know we live in a 3 dimensional world, and
Well,
I
stick,
guess yeah,
stick
yeah. I
with
could,
that.
I could,
Oh,
I could see something. I could see something in 3 dimensions. Sure.
and do you have downward facing nostrils?
Yeah.
Well, that means you're a primate then.
Okay. Says who?
That's what classifies something as being a primate.
Okay. Do you have a soul?
I don't think so.
You don't think you have a soul?
No.
Mm.
You'd have to show me where I could find it or where I can see evidence of the soul.
Well, do you have courage?
Yeah, I think so.
Where can I show you that? Where how? Where can I show you that? Where can I show you that?
Well, courage is not a physical thing, though. It's a trait. The soul
Okay.
is.
What is a soul?
I don't. I think. I don't think the soul is some. I think the soul is just a concept. I don't think it's something that physically exists within humans or within our brain. And if you can't point to it within the medical anatomy of a human, then I just don't really see the purpose in talking about what a soul is, because it just means it's just something that anybody could give their own definition to, versus like organs. We know what organs are in a human. It's not up for debate what organs we have.
I'm sorry. Sorry, somebody distracted me in the background. So, so like everything has organs, and if you don't believe that you don't have a soul, then I'm guarantee that you probably don't believe that you have a spirit.
Well, you'd have to define what that is first.
Define define spirit like biblically or like what scientifically?
Just either way.
Spirit. I mean, I'm not even gonna look it up, but I mean, like something something that you're passionate about. Like whenever you're school, I'm pretty sure you had like prep rallies, and they're like, hey, yeah, we have spirit. Yeah, yeah, we can do that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You have spirit, right?
Um,
Unless you're dead inside. Some of us are dead inside. Sometimes I feel dead inside too. But yeah,
I mean, that's define it biblically then.
define the biblical definition of spirit.
Sure.
Okay. I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna Google it because I want to see what it says. Um, for me, the spirit, the Holy Spirit would be, you know, the given to us by Christ, um, and it's not really a tangible thing. But let me see. In the Bible, the word spirit. Let me go ahead and I'll share this here. Let's see. I appreciate you being calm and collected. I'm not sure what happened last time, but you're doing well, man. Shit. What am I doing here? Share screen. Okay. In
I
the
mean,
Bible, the word spirit has multiple meanings, including the life force that God breathed into Adam and all humans. It is a source of feeling, insight, and will. When a person dies, their spirit returns to God. Incorporeal beings. Spirit can refer to beings created by God that are not physical and may be good or evil. Essential being. A spirit can refer to the essential being of a person, which is a source of feeling, insight, and will. Do I need to go on or?
well, I mean, if you're not defining it as a physical thing that exists within the human body, then I'd probably be okay with that. But um, I I'm not really sure what it is you're asking me. Like, what does this have to do with evolution?
Because I'm trying to see. Because you're saying that everything's related, yet I feel like humans are obviously distinct because we have a soul and spirit. And the Bible doesn't give the spirit to the ant the Bible, like a horse can't receive the Holy Spirit, an ape can't receive the Holy Spirit. The only thing that is received the Holy Spirit would be mankind, you know, and you're like an actual person. If you were in front of me, like I could touch you. You're made of flesh and bone, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and there are things that you like that that make AJ. Like, there's certain things that you enjoy to do, certain things that you like to watch and, praise and, or enjoy. And then there's something that tells you whether something's like right or wrong or something that kind of guides like your morality system, like if I cut you open, am I going to be able to find any of those things?
No.
Right, right. So I can't show you where they're at, but they exist, right?
Yeah, but I mean, that's like activity within my brain, and that is measurable. We can measure brain waves, and we can measure the synaptic activity. It's electrical signals, um, like we were talking about with bubblegum gun, and that's like memories are stored physically in the brain. It's collections of clusters of neurons and synapses, and
Synapses,
you wouldn't
right,
be able
right.
to
Very
see like emotions, but or hormones, but like we have glands that excrete hormones in our bodies. So I mean, in a way, that's why I'm saying we have organs that can produce intangible things, but the soul is just something that I think it was just a concept that was made up before they had a better understanding of human anatomy and human evolution, and it's just carried over into modern society.
okay. So like a synapse, that's like an electrical spark, I believe. Yeah, but I'm pretty sure it has. You can
Yeah, pretty
measure
much
it in
between
ways.
the synapses.
Right. But an electrical spark doesn't produce like a feeling, an emotion, or anything like that. Our us as humans, we do through that spark. So it's a very complicated system. And yeah, I would take that argument that it's one of the first laws of thermodynamics that the energy cannot be destroyed. Only it can only be. I always forget it whenever I need to remember. Um, what is it? Let's see. Energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be converted into a different form. So so if our bodies produce energy, that energy, where would that go? Where does that go? It can be destroyed,
I
so it has to go
Our body
somewhere.
doesn't produce energy. We get energy from the food we eat and the liquids we drink.
No, our body produces energy. You have a heart that beats, that produces blood flow, and that also does produce an
No, it's
electrical
like that's like
impulse.
saying a car produces gasoline.
No,
Yeah, I mean, our cells have
no.
metabolic processes that extract energy from our nutrients from the food we eat, but we still have to intake food to get energy.
I just googled it right here. Yes, the heart does produce electricity.
Yeah, you
you
said it
give a
produces energy though.
you give a car gasoline, and that gasoline powers the system that produces energy as well. There's a combustion system, um, fuel injection systems. It's complicated, but the engine produces energy itself, and yeah, the gas may be fuel. So, but I mean, the car still produces energy.
Our bodies burn almost 90% of the energy that we have just to keep ourselves warm.
What's that?
The energy that we have in our bodies, that we get from food, our bodies burn like over 90% of us, or over 90% of it, just to keep us warm, just to keep our body temperature regulated at like 98.6 degrees. Takes a ton of energy.
Yeah, I bet. I bet. Do you have
So
a? Do you have?
how is
Do
the
you have
body able to
a?
produce energy if the efficiency of if it's that low in energy efficiency, then how is it producing any energy? I don't see that.
Uh, because we require energy, but we also produce energy. I mean, I don't understand how difficult of a concept that is for you to understand.
Well, if that's true, then we wouldn't need to eat.
We won't need to eat with our well. You know, it's interesting with our glorified bodies whether or not we're going to eat, or that's up for debate. Let me ask you this: with the atheist philosophy, is essentially life's a bitch and then you die? Is do you go by that?
Uh, yeah, that's one way to put it. Although we can, because we only have one um, chance at life, and we know that it could potentially be pretty limited, depending because we don't know, nobody knows when they're going to die. I think that that doesn't mean that life inherently doesn't have value. I think that that would maybe be a reason to think life has more value because it's limited.
But when you die, what happens?
I'm pretty sure that it's just the same as before you were born. Obviously, I can't say that I know for sure, but when you die, your brain is no longer getting any oxygen from your bloodstream, and if your brain goes long enough without oxygen, it just ceases to function, and it doesn't have any stimuli. So if your brain has no stimuli, then you're not going to have any type of senses like vision or seeing or hearing or feeling anything, uh, and it would just be like non-existence or blackness, like I said before you were born. You didn't have any sensory data then, but you do when you start being alive.
Right. Yeah. Sounds a lot like kind of hell to me. Just complete blackness and just away from
Yeah,
any
but you don't
blood
have any
and that.
consciousness though. You wouldn't be
Well, I
aware.
mean, I have consciousness right now, and that consciousness is produced by energy. So where does that energy go? It has to go somewhere, according to science.
Well, like I said, our bodies use it to keep us warm, and your body radiates heat constantly. So
Sure.
it goes that energy goes out. It radiates off of our bodies
Where does it go?
into
Into
the
the atmosphere.
yeah, into
Atmosphere.
the surrounding air.
Where do our thoughts go when we die? Do they just disappear?
Yeah, they would basically be like we were talking about how memories are stored physically. Like they would basically be in our brain, but they'd be inaccessible because our brains would be non-functioning. So you could say that the structures of neurons that formed to form memories are still there, but it's like a hard drive that nobody can read because it's broken, basically.
The corrupt hard drive.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Uh. So yeah, evolution. I mean, I feel like we beat this to death. I don't think we're gonna get to any kind of agreement here because yeah, I mean, uh, you brought up a whole bunch of things. You brought up Lucy, and like I said, Lucy has been up for debate whether it's even actually real. People they've said that there's all kinds of speculations with the bone. I can't think of it off the top of my head. I didn't even prepare for this debate or conversation and whatnot. So I just know, and maybe next time I'll be a little bit better prepared. To counter anything about like Lucy or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I just don't see. I'm trying to see if you can understand. that we're different from the animal kingdom, and something there's something that makes us different. And what is that something? I want to know what that something is.
Well, it's our intelligence.
Our
And
intelligence, animals have intelligence.
yeah, but yeah, some do. Like
Almost every animal
dolphins.
has intelligence.
Yeah, but the thing is, like animals like dolphins have intelligence, but they don't have the opposable thumbs and fingers like we do. So they could never um, master something like writing or having a written language. Um, like if you took the intelligence of a dolphin and put it in a raccoon, like it'd be like Rocket Raccoon from Guardians of the Galaxy. That's what I think.
uh,
Because they have opposable thumbs. If you gave them the
that
intelligence that
that
some other species have, they
that.
would be. I think they would. They
I'm pretty
wouldn't be
sure
equal with
I'm pretty
people.
sure they're working that. I'm pretty sure they're working on something like that in China with the CRISPR project and whatever you're talking about. I mean, but that's kind of like fanciful, though. I mean, like, you think that we're ever going to be able to do that?
I mean, I don't think so, but um, who knows what could happen with natural selection over long enough period of time. Maybe because they can walk upright. Have you ever seen the video of the raccoon that goes and he steals hand foods of cat food out
Oh
of
yeah,
the bowl
yeah,
and walks off?
yeah.
Like,
I seen a dude who feeds hot dogs to raccoons, and they're fat raccoons and everything. But they'll go and they'll walk up on their hind legs. They'll walk up on their hind legs, grab that hot dog, and go and take it and eat it. So I mean, what's that? I mean, what's that got to prove? That it wants to eat and it'll do what
just
it
that,
needs to do to
just that
eat.
humans got the right combination of structures and intelligence, and that's why we've uh, basically become the
Did
top of the food chain.
did humans get that, or did they evolve that?
They evolved it. It wasn't
Okay,
given to them. It was incidental.
but you just said that humans got that intelligence and those
Yeah, they
capabilities,
got it
and
from
now,
they got it from the process of evolution.
they got it from evolution.
Yeah, because well, this is just my opinion, but I think that
Sure.
part of the reason that humans developed intelligence more than other species is because once humans were able to walk upright like Lucy was, that meant that their spinal column could support a heavier, larger brain, and a larger brain tends towards higher intelligence in animals. And then the
Is
next sort of
is it
step is
is
that we start cooking our food.
is an elephant more intelligent than a human?
No, but elephants are pretty intelligent. Like, have you seen those
They
elephants eat
they they, they
pictures?
have they have a quite much larger brain than us, I believe.
Mm,
So they should be more
yeah, but they also
intelligent.
have a much bigger body than we do.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
It has to do with brain to body ratio.
Oh, okay. So now it's got to do with brain to body ratio.
No, you're acting like I changed what I said. I'm just adding more context to what I was saying.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
but I was saying that elephants paint pictures and they use their trunk like a human would use their hand with opposable
not
thumbs.
not 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 every not every elephant can paint a picture. Okay.
I didn't
That
say that.
elephant. You said elephants can paint picture. Elephant can paint pictures.
Well, I've seen
They,
a
they're
video of an elephant painting a picture.
I've seen it too. I've seen it too. It's pretty impressive. It's trained. It was trained though by a human.
Sure.
It didn't just
And
pick up a pen one day and just decide to make artwork.
no, but it's still
So
capable of
the,
doing it.
the man with the smaller brain taught the elephant with the bigger brain how to do artwork. And the elephant doesn't know why it does artwork, but it does it probably because it gets a snack or something afterwards.
That's more evidence of the reptile mammal transition is the way our brain is structured because the way our brain is um, structured is like there's a reptilian core that's very similar to the size and layout of how a reptile brain is, and then that's like surrounded by more brain tissue that's like our mammal brain. You ever heard of a lizard brain?
I've heard of a reptilian, and I know lizards have a brain.
Yeah.
I don't know what is a lizard brain. By the way, I figured if we go ahead, if there's anybody else that wants to join, maybe like in about 5 minutes, we'll let anybody else join if they want. Did I pin the link or not? I wish I had the intelligence of elephant that could pin a freaking message or pin a comment. But yeah. So I I'm failing to still see any kind of other than we're similar. I think there's a lot of similar things, um, you know, in the world. But to say that they're related, I think that's just a stretch. How long ago? How long ago did humans change from whatever? What are we right now? Homo sapiens.
Homo sapiens sapien
And
is how they classify it.
what were we? Say 10,000 years ago. Were we still Homo sapiens, or were we something else? Homo erectus, or
Yeah, I think Homo sapiens have been around. I think. Let me Google this.
can you bring up that picture that shows the ape turning into like a little bit of a larger ape, and then the ape that's walking upright, and then eventually turns into a human. It's a very common depiction of evolution. You know what I'm
Yeah,
talking about, right?
300,000 years.
300,000 years.
Yeah, I mean that's why I was trying. If you want, like this video I was going to play can answer that question better than I could.
Is it a debate? You said it's a debate with Ken Hovind.
Yeah, I closed my screen share, but I can add it again.
All right, we'll let you play it for a little bit, and how about this? We'll open it up, and if anybody else wants to join, they can join in while it's playing. I may have to take a little bit of a little intermission, so I might step away for a minute.
Sounds good.
Let's see. Aiden does have a $5 fee to join the chat. Aiden's not joining until he pays that. If Aiden pays the $5, he can join. But yeah, Aiden, you're not getting in here. You earned it. Yep. But anyone else can join. Yeah, see, exactly. That's why I don't allow you into the chat rooms.
Well,
Pay pay
I can pay Aiden's fee.
if you want to do that, you can. I'm not gonna say no. And then he can join as much as he wants. Hopefully, he'll be a little bit more responsible than Christian if you do that.
Oh, I thoroughly enjoyed when Christian came on that last time because I considered it money well spent.
Let me see. I think this is probably Big Bad Mama or Christian. Let's see which one it is. What's up,
It's
Gord?
me.
Yeah, goodbye. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Maybe you could do. Let me do a quick. Let's do a little intermission real quick here. Let me see if I can find something cool to play. Appreciate your participation in this, AJ. You've done really well. I'm not convinced of anything new, but I appreciate you coming in and talking, man. Uh, let me see. Let me see my live videos. I usually have some pretty cool stuff here. I'll just play this. We're not gonna play it for the full time, but we'll just play this, and I'm gonna go grab myself a drink and probably a little bit of a snack. I'm a little bit hungry. I don't think I've eaten at all today.
Were you gonna play my video?
Yeah, I could play your video, but I'm not gonna be here to watch it, so I could do that. Dude, YouTube Shorts is always screwing up on my end. What do you got? Like, why is it playing stuff automatically? Like, it's not even finishing. Can you hear me? I lost you. Your mic went really low. What in the world? Okay, let me take that off. Your mic went really low, AJ. I can't hear you.
Yeah, I know. I'm muted.
Oh, which is weird because I could hear you when you were muted. Kind of scary. But all right, you can play the video. I'll be right back.
Capacity averaged 485 cc's. Compared to afarensis, we see already a less projecting face, more rounded skull, no cranial crest, and smaller dentition. So they're getting a little bit closer to us. And again, no modern human remains ever been found in the same layers as afarensis or africanus. Pithecus sediba was a fairly new one, discovered 2008 by 8-year-old Matthew Berger, son of Lee Berger. We're up to 1.98 million years ago, so just under 2 million years. Lots of different features to them. I'm not really going to take the time to cover all that. We're going to keep moving right along. Homo habilis, again, just under 2 million years ago, first discovered by the Leakeys in Kubifora, Kenya. And these are the early tool makers. Now, we might have seen evidence with tool makers prior, but this is the first species that's associated with tool making by design, with something with an end product in mind. Chimps might use a rock or a stick, but the closest we've seen them to designing tools is stripping leaves off of a stick to get at termites. These are the Oldowan style tools dating back as far as 2.5 million years, discovered in Olivai Gorge by Leakeys. Again, an end product in mind, but not a real refined type of tool. Homo rudolfensis, which some people will consider Homo habilis, again at 1.9 million years ago, so just under 2 million years. Look at that cranial capacity. Now we're up to 775 cc's. We're seeing a gradual increase here in brain size. And again, no modern human remains have ever been found in the same layers as Homo habilis. Homo erectus, these were the most successful humans so far. They were around for about 1.75 million years. First species to leave Africa. So they were around from 1.89 million years to 143,000 years ago. The early cranial capacity we see on average is 850 cc's, and the later up to 1,100 cc's. So we can see the brain's getting larger again. African Homo erectus, some people will call Homo ergaster. This is one at 1.75 million years with a cranial capacity of 850 cc's. Again, most successful human species so far. Homo erectus turcanaboy skull at 1.5 million years, cranial capacity 880 cc's, discovered in Lake Turkana. We've got Turcanaboy. We can tell his age. He still had his wisdom teeth. So that's one of the ways we can tell age from some of these bones in the dirt. Male pelvis, long legs, 5 foot 3 inches tall. Asian Homo erectus. This is one of the skulls discovered in Java, but a more recent discovery, 1969, not the early Java man. Cranial capacity there, 1,000 cc's already we're seeing. And just to cover again, if you line these skulls up, Africanus, habilis, erectus, and I do this at the museum when I'm speaking there and talking with children there. It's so obvious that an 8 or 10-year-old can put them back in the right order. I can mix them up and be talking with these kids and ask them to put them back in the right order. I mean, and they'll put them in the right order based on these different transitional features. Again, we're seeing 435 to 530, average 450 cc's on a brain size on the Africanus. Homo habilis averages 680. Homo erectus averages 1,000. We're seeing a
Okay, so this is a good example showing the increase in brain size.
Okay. So what are we look? All right. So what are we looking here? Okay. So
Well,
we got some bones. We
you
don't know.
you wanted oh, and this is another thing, that no modern human remains have ever been found in the same layers as Homo erectus.
Do we know that 100% for a fact?
We've never found any,
Okay. Could it
and
be
we've
possible?
never we've
Could we?
never found any modern human remains in any layers of uh, any ancient human, Homo ergaster, Homo habilis, any of them.
Why haven't we found any human remains like fossil? I mean, how would you even classify a human from, say, 5,000 years ago to now? How would you even
layers
tell
this.
the difference?
Well, it depends on what species are we talking about. What species of human?
Homo sapien, like me and you.
Then we would be the same, because we'd be the same species.
Okay, and how would you be able to tell that just by bone structure? Just because like we've already discussed it. Just the size of a brain doesn't really necessarily indicate that something is more intelligent. Um, but so we got some bones here. Let's go ahead and look at the bones.
Well, you said that you wanted to. We look at the was it this image you were talking about?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What is that showing to you? What is that showing?
Let me find a bigger version of it.
Just, I
Well,
mean, we
well,
see.
no. I'd like you to explain to me, how do you think that evolution explains this, Lupin?
How do I see this? How evolution? How
Yeah,
what do I think evolution is trying to say here?
yeah. Well, what do you think is the
I think it's showing that there's a progression somehow, that the ape is around, and then eventually this ape forms a couple different traits, and then that ape forms a couple different traits, and then it continues on. It's purely imaginative and speculative. I don't think that shows any kind of relationship, at all. Like zero. So can you explain it to me?
well, this is
How
a
close? How
chart
close do
from
you think I was?
uh I mean, what you said, that an ape got new traits and changed into a different species. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I don't know how that smaller ape. I mean, maybe what did it have? It just kept having baby. It just kept having babies, and then maybe the babies were larger, and then the larger babies kept having babies, and then those babies became larger. I mean, it's a fantasy. It's a fantasy. What I see here is just a absolute fantasy. How did
Well,
it get from that little monkey that's walking on its hind legs already, to a human being? Why did we lose the fur? Why did we lose the fur? Why are we not hairy anymore? Like, was it much colder back then?
I think one reason is that humans walk upright. So if you think about,
But that little monkey at the very bottom is walking upright.
is he walking upright the same way as the man is?
Looks like it. Yeah, he's a little
No,
hunchback, but I've seen a
yeah,
I've
he's
seen a
bent over.
I've seen hunchback.
His spine isn't straight.
Okay, so what about the one next to it? When does it get so what? Like, I
I'm
mean, what
saying,
is it? What is it showing?
right
Explain it to
where
me.
it's Australopithecines. Although this chart is considered out of date because it's not a linear progression evolution isn't a one like line of progression. It's more like a tree or like a tumbleweed. There's lots of different forks in the tree of life. Um, but the Australopithecine is it was able to walk the way the chimp does and the way that modern humans can walk upright. That's why it's transitional.
Okay, so what if that human decided to just walk on four legs? As a matter of fact, have you seen that there's quadrupedal Olympic trials right now? Like people, they're trying to make that a thing, and they're saying that humans eventually are going to be quadrupedal again and be able to run faster than bipedal. Have you seen that?
No, that just sounds
Could
pretty
decay.
dumb.
Animals
It's wild, right? Well, I mean, the scientist said it, so
So
a
what?
biological science. It sounds wild to me, but cheetahs can run faster than us. A lot of dogs can run faster than us. Seems like it'd be more beneficial to be able to walk on all four. Be able to use those muscles to walk on all fours and be faster to escape prey, do all kinds of things.
All right.
Go ahead.
First knee joint that Johansen discovered in 1973 is actually quite a bit older than Lucy was. Testing our theory. How would we test the theory of evolution and as far as human evolution?
Does this have Kent Hovind's response?
We can look at that.
Okay, all right, that's cool. Can you put it like at 1.25?
We would to test the hypothesis about the change of kind from early species to modern humans, we would predict that we would find evidence in the fossil record for such a transitional change. We would predict that recent layers would contain modern humans. At some point, anatomically, modern humans would cease to exist in the fossil record, and we would only see evidence of species with both those primitive and derived traits, becoming more primitive as the fossils get older, ending up with only these early apes in the oldest layers. That's exactly what we see. We never see human remains in with any of these primitive species or older fossil remains. Never see it. Over 6,000 individuals now we have cataloged in hominin evolution. We're just talking about humans here. If you look at the fossil record as a whole, most creationists will agree to microevolution. Oh yeah, microevolution happens. They have to. I mean, because we see these changes. But if you lined up all these skulls and put them in a row, you're seeing microevolution from one to the other. And if you look at it over as a whole, it's becomes macro. I mean, you can line up Australopithecus on the left, modern human on the right, and every little minor change is a macro change. But you go back and look at the first skull and the last skull, and everybody's going to say, oh yeah, that's a different species. That's macroevolution. We just witnessed a change in kind by studying the fossil record. Australopithecus afarensis female on the left, Homo sapiens female on the right. I don't think anybody's going to disagree that we have two different species there. To argue against this, let me join you, because this march of progress type thing for human evolution is not what we see in the fossil record. It was something that was dreamed up 150 years ago, but we have much more like a bush. It's not a straight ladder-like progression.
Pause it. Rewind it a little bit. I want to see where we got the Scarlett Johansson, and he said it was a different species, obviously, from that. Whatever
we just
that
witnessed a change in kind by studying the fossil record. Australopithecus afarensis female on the left, Homo sapiens female on the right. I don't think anybody's going to disagree that we have two different species there. I'm going to argue against this.
So we have a picture of a female kind of monkey, and then a picture of Scarlett Johansson, a Homo sapien.
Okay. Did I rewind it? I couldn't hear you for a second.
No, you rewinded it. No, I wanted a picture with Scarlett Johansson in it. Okay, so he says that there's two different species right there, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So they're not related, or are they related?
No, they'd be related.
They're related. Okay. All right. So I see a monkey, some type of monkey, a female monkey, and then I see Scarlett Johansson. I think that's Scarlett Johansson. It looks like her, right?
Yeah, it's from the movie Lucy. It's just a movie.
Okay, Lucy. Like Lucifer. Gotcha. Okay. All right. Go ahead.
By studying the fossil record. Australopithecus afarensis female on the left, Homo sapiens female on the right. I don't think anybody's going to disagree that we have two different species there. To argue against this, let me join you, because this march of progress type thing for human evolution is not what we see in the fossil record. It was something that was dreamed up 150 years ago, but we have much more like a bush. It's not a straight ladder-like progression. So again, the difference
So
between us and
pause.
the other apes is great, but we didn't evolve.
So he says that chart is out of date, right? That chart is bullcrap. It's essentially BS, bullcrap, fantasy.
Yeah, but I brought it up because you wanted to talk about it.
Yeah, I wanted to show that. I mean, it's bullcrap. It's just fantasy, and
Yeah, but
even
he's
now,
saying
new
outdated.
evolution. Yeah, yeah. It's outdated. So we throw it out.
But
It's
you would have thought it was bullshit even when it was considered to be like up to date. Like, so it's not the same thing.
yeah,
Saying
and it's been proven to be bullcrap. So it was
it's not that it's
bullcrap.
completely wrong
It,
though. It's just that
it was
it's incomplete
then why is it so out of date? Why is it's
because
out of
the
date?
information is incomplete. Like he said, it's not a straight line. It's like a bush. The tree of life is more complex than just a straight line. There's lots of forks in the tree of life. That's what he's saying. So it was incomplete, but it wasn't completely wrong. There's
How
a
how
difference.
how many forks does it go to? I mean, like that chart that Ken Hovind likes to show with the single cell organism at the bottom? You know, do you think that everything came from that single cell organism?
Not that particular single cell organism, but Luca is a single celled organism that's the last universal common ancestor of modern living organisms.
Okay, all right. Go ahead, continue.
I'd like you to tell me how can we tell if things are related, or what do you think related means?
If we could bring, if we can mate with it, bring forth, if you could create a baby, and continue on doing that. I think it's very easy to tell. I think I can look. I don't need to be a scientist. I don't need to be a biologist. I just look around my environment and see, okay, human. I could mate, could mate, could mate, could mate. If I want a redheaded child, I want to mate with that one. If I wanted a brunette child, I could mate with that one. If I wanted a tall child, I could mate with that one. But it's all going to be a human female, human female, human female, and yeah. So I would just go by that. Like that's how I know that we're related. We're all human beings created in the created in the image of God. Now I could find a monkey, maybe even a hairless monkey, and look at that monkey, and I know that there's we can't bring forth, we can't reproduce. There's no relationship there. We might have a couple similar features. We might have opposable thumbs, fingernails, toenails, teeth, hair on the head, maybe no hair on the head in my case sometimes. I mean, whatever. But I just know that we're not the same. We're not related. We're not the same kind of being. We're not the same kind of creation. That's how I would, you know, tell if we're related or not.
Yeah, you know how a paternity test works, right?
Uh, DNA. They match up the DNA from the mother and father. Sure, some to an extent.
Yeah. Well, the way that they can tell um, if who your parents are is if you have a genetic sequence that's if you share more DNA in common with them, if you share more of your nucleotide sequence in common with them. And there are some animals where humans, because they mapped out the human genome, like we were talking about, and there are animals whose genome is more similar to the human genome than other animals. So that's why we're considered more related to, like, biology says that all life on Earth is related because we all have DNA. We all live on the same planet, um, and and yet some animals are supposed to be more closely related to us than others, like a chimpanzee versus like a fish. And that's because we share more of our nucleotide sequence with chimps, almost 99% of it.
So will that paternity test ever go back to say? Yeah, here are your parents, but eventually fish.
No, because that's not
Oh,
what it's
okay.
supposed to do. It's not the point.
Even though we share a lot of DNA with a fish, that paternity test is never gonna. It's always gonna go back to two human beings, correct?
Yeah, because your parents are humans. That doesn't mean
Right.
you're.
I mean,
That doesn't mean you don't have ancient ancestry that we're different species.
well, my parents' parents were humans. My parents' parents' parents were humans. My parents' 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 parents were humans. And if I go back as far as I could think, they've always been humans. I don't see where they would ever be fish or even a monkey. Like I don't see it. I don't see it.
Well, um, I think we're gonna have to agree to disagree then.
Okay, if you want to think that you're related to a fish and a monkey, you're perfectly fine with that. I'm perfectly fine with that too.
Well, I tend to go with what the scientific consensus is because uh,
I know.
those people are more educated than me on the topic, and I'm not an expert, so I tend to side with them.
Well, I'll side with the creator of the universe and God and the inspired word of men. I'll go with that. Hey, you want to believe? Hey, if you want to believe in a monkey and you want to be you're related to a monkey or a fish or a reptile, and you think that that is somehow not as far fetched as saying looking at everything, looking at this wonderful earth that has been created, looking at the beauty of life, looking at the uniqueness of the humankind, this experience that uh, we are blessed to experience, and this life can be punishing at times, it can be wonderful at times, but we're here in this time frame, and this the Bible, this living word of the book that has prophecy that's been fulfilled, and it's got prophecy that's yet to be fulfilled, and prophecy that we're seeing being fulfilled. And say call me crazy for trusting that more than I trust a corruptible man who depending on how much they get paid will tell you anything. They'll lie to you about anything. They'll lie to you and tell you you're related to a monkey and just because they have a certain educational prowess, you'll believe them. It could be a complete lie. A completely educated person, a very smart person, can still lie to you, and very easily, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
And God doesn't lie. It's not in His nature to lie. It's not in His nature to lie. So I trust. Call me crazy, call me old school, whatever. Call me conservative, but I trust God. I believe in Jesus Christ. Let me ask you this: is there any point in this conversation between you and I in the long run?
Um, I don't see why not.
Well, I mean, after we die, this
Yeah,
conversation
because
is
people will still
pretty.
be able to watch it.
Not if my channel gets taken down, but I mean, or my computer or YouTube gets taken down or it gets lost somewhere. So whatever. People get to watch it, but in the long run, after we're long and gone, is this going to have any significance? This conversation. You telling me I'm related to a monkey?
Yeah, I think so.
You think so? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, uh, I would just like to say that there's a creator. I believe there's a creator. I know there's a creator. I know that in my existence, in my being, I know that I have a conscience. I know that I have a spirit. I know I have a relationship with Christ. I can't really explain to you that relationship. That's a very personal. It's like me explaining to you an acid trip or something like that, and try to tell you something that I see and see if you see. But it's a very personal relationship, and it's the most beautiful relationship because I realize without that creator, my parents wouldn't be created. We wouldn't have no common ancestor with no monkey, even though that's how he says that's not how it was done. He created us separate. You know, and he loves us, and there is a goal, and there's always a goal for me to have a conversation with you, and I don't care how long it takes. I'll do it till the day that I die, and I'll preach to you the gospel and tell you that Jesus Christ did die on the cross. He did rise again after 3 days. He died for your transgressions, my transgressions, all of our sins. He has been imputed. He took on all the um punishment of what we deserve whenever he died on that cross. And it was so significant that we're living in his timeline. We're living in his timeline. The reason why you're living right now in the year 2024, October 30th, is because Jesus Christ's death and resurrection was so significant. It literally changed the timeline in history. Like, that's how significant it is, and you're living in it. It's affecting you whether you'd like to admit it or not. You are you are affected by his death and resurrection, and he wants that relationship with you, man. I mean, he wants to be with you, and he loves you. Imagine, the best father you can ever have, except infinitely more greater, like where you can't even comprehend. And
Okay.
for your eternity, for eternity, I think we can both agree once you die, you're going to be dead for a pretty long time, right?
Sure.
Yeah. So there's only really two options in my view. Either go with the Father, or you choose to reject the Father, and you can go into eternal darkness, abyss, and you know, um, it'd be like I never knew you. Like, worst case, the best case scenario is you. The best case scenario, honestly, is if you're right, then we've lost nothing. We've lost nothing. It just goes dark, goes back to before you were born. Worst case scenario is you've lost everything. You've lost all the chance. You've had every second that you've been living and breathing. Every time everybody has preached to you the gospel, and you've chosen to reject it. You've chosen to reject the truth. You've chosen to reject the love that Jesus Christ offers you, and it's a free gift. It's free. It's free. He's saying you do
Aren't,
not.
aren't gifts supposed to be free in the first place?
Yeah, exactly. You don't
You've been
have to.
charged for a gift, so the free gift is is redundant, saying it's
It,
free.
AJ, if I give you a free gift and you reject it,
But all gifts are supposed to be free. I've never had to pay for a gift. It wouldn't be a gift then.
exactly. He's offering
So why
you a
call it
gift.
a free gift?
Okay, he's offering you a gift. He's offering you a gift. It's up to you whether
Which
you
is what?
eternal life after death, eternal life after death, to return with the Father, the Creator of the universe. If you don't want to be with the Creator of the universe, um, then I don't know what to tell you. If you don't want to be with the person that gave you the ability to be here on this planet, who gave your parents to be here on this planet, who um, who gave you the chance to have this opportunity to live this unique life that is, percentage wise, a miracle in its own. If you don't want to be with that person, and that Jesus Christ, God is telling you that you don't have to do anything. You don't. Well,
How is
you
he
don't have.
telling me?
He tells you through the word. He tells you through the word, through the gospels. He tells you he's love. You don't have to work. That's the difference between Christianity and every other religion. You don't have to. You don't have to work. It's, you accept it or you don't. It's up to you. God loves you so much. He gives you the choice. If I loved you, can I force you? Can I force you to love me?
No, that's because love has to be reciprocated. You can't
Okay.
just love one person without them knowing you or loving you back. That's called unrequited love or
Right.
infatuation or obsession, and that's
E-
unhealthy. It's
ex-
psychotic.
Exactly, and that's exactly what God. That's exactly what God is not. God gives you the choice to accept Him or not. You know, God gives you. If you don't want to be with
No, it's
God,
based on a threat. It's not a choice. It's a
n-
threat.
no, it's not. It's look.
Yes, it is.
If you want to be with God,
No,
then
it's
you
if you
accept.
don't want to burn in hell for all eternity.
Well, that's a different story. We would have to talk. We would have to have a different discussion if you want to discuss hell and what is hell, um, and you know what happens. Then
If you loved somebody, would you send them to hell?
you don't. He doesn't send you to hell. You send yourself to hell.
Well, he's the one that created hell and created the circumstances for people
Why
to
did he
go to
create
hell if
hell?
they don't believe.
Why did he create hell? Why did
I
God
don't
create
know.
hell? You don't know.
I mean, I know, but it's not like he had to. I mean,
No,
he set
God created hell as a holding place. God created hell as a holding place for Satan and the fallen
if God
angels.
is all powerful, why is he like why is he such a little bitch about Satan? Why doesn't he just kill Satan?
He already defeated Satan. He defeated Satan before the. Okay, all right.
How's
First
he
off,
gonna come back? That's
first,
like
first off, I'm gonna ask you don't say that about my Christ on my show. All right, you can say it on your own time, but don't say that about my Christ.
sorry.
Don't say that about God who has given us this opportunity. Give him some respect, even if you don't even believe in him. Give me the respect, okay?
Sure.
All right. So your question is, why doesn't God defeat Satan?
Yeah.
He already has. It's already been done.
Well, yeah, but he hasn't. He's maybe he defeated him in a battle, but he didn't win the war. He hasn't killed him or
The
stopped him
war
eternally.
is done. The war is done. The war is finished. It is over.
But but Satan is supposed to come back after like a certain amount of time. You know, he's supposed to
Uh,
loose the chains of his confinement and wreak havoc on Earth.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so you know,
And then
he defeated him.
at the second coming, like you see now you want to get into like a little bit of a theological discussion. I'm not necessarily ready for that. We've already been going for about an hour and 45
Yeah, that's
minutes.
I gotta
Uh,
go anyway.
I, I would like to. If you want to have that discussion, I would be more than glad to talk to you about that as well.
Okay.
Okay, heaven, hell, Satan, Jesus Christ. Who's Jesus Christ? Who's Satan? Is Satan defeated? Is Satan destroyed? Is Satan still hanging around? Does Satan still have influence? I think it's very obvious, you know, that some people try and say, well, why is there still evil in the world? You know, if God is so great, why is there still evil in the world? God gave us the ability to be evil or good. Mankind chooses whether they want to be evil or good. You know, that satanic influence pushes us toward an evil side. You know, it uh it influences us to do evil. Any and all good comes from Christ. Christ is not Christ cannot be associated with anything bad. Jesus Christ cannot be associated with anything bad. The Holy Spirit cannot be associated with anything bad. Whenever I die, whenever I go to heaven, any negative memories that I have, anything bad that's ever happened in this life, it's not coming. It's sorry that gets left at the front of the gate, gets destroyed. It's only going to be the good things, because only good can exist in heaven, because God is all good. God is all good.
All right. Well, I'm gonna run, but I appreciate the discussion.
All right, man. I appreciate the discussion too. I'm going to check out that debate that you sent. I'm glad that you gave me the link.
Oh yeah, it's one of my favorites.
Okay, you think that Ken Hovind lost on that one or what?
Yeah, but it's still a good debate though.
Okay, I might do like a live review on it.
Alrighty.
All right, have a good one, man. God bless. Take care. All right, so well, that went a little bit smoother. It went a little bit smoother than last time. So I gotta say, AJ did apologize from the last time that he was on my channel, and he had something happened. Like I said, I don't know exactly what happened, what caused it to happen. Um, but he apologized for it, and I accept the apology. I'm always going to accept the apology. I'm always forgiving people. Always. I don't ask for people to forgive me, but I will constantly forgive people, even people I can't stand. But I do respect AJ for that apology. I think it was sincere, and I respect that, and I think that that's a good trait to have. Shows it shows good growth and development in a person's um, character. So, uh, and he was respectful in this conversation, and with that being said, I mean I can be appreciative of him doing that. Um, it was an interesting conversation. I'm not convinced that we're related to an ape or a monkey or whatever Lucy is or any of that. I think we're still human beings. We're distinctly different from apes, monkeys, no matter if they can draw a picture or, they can form groups to, work together or whatever, or they can walk on their forelegs or they can walk on just their hind legs. They're just different kinds of animals that have gone extinct. I don't think any relation has been proved. It's just a thought, a theory, and that's all it is. And if you ask me about my belief in Jesus Christ, you say, yeah, it's just, I believe it. Yeah, I believe it. I take it on faith through. But what about moon dolphins? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they keep them in the military base up there on the moon, um, with the laser um, particle energy beams. Good thing your opinion doesn't affect reality. Well, we'll see. I don't know. I made an opinion on who I wanted to vote for, and I did a vote, and we're going to see if it affects reality or not this coming November 5th, 4th, whatever day the election is. So, my opinion, see, Blaster, you're not exactly right on that. Your opinions do have an effect on reality. Um, and yeah, so we're going to see. But yeah, no, again, I'm going to thank AJ. I think he did well as far as behavior wise. Again, like I said, I don't think his arguments were very convincing, but it was just a conversation. And as what he did was okay. So, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and take off. Thank you, AJ, for joining. Thank you for being respectful. And thank you guys for tuning in. Drop a like, subscribe, share, whatever. Hit the do whatever. Otherwise, I mean, uh, you know, otherwise, this always messes up. But if you don't like, subscribe, hit the share button, hit the notification bell, and everything, all the buttons. If you don't hit all the buttons, Batman will find you and he'll deliver justice. AJ shall be spared. But all of you who are watching, if you don't hit that button, beware of the knights. All right, everybody. Good night. Have a good one. And God bless. Take care. Mm, so many things. Okay.